Hey, Clay County, Florida, whoever else is watching. Today we're not going to rebut David Campbell from the school board meeting on February 1st. We're going to actually focus on the policymakers, the school board, and Addison Davis, the superintendent. Because it isn't David Campbell that makes policy, it's the school board, it's the superintendent. And what they have to say about these things is actually more important right now in what we're trying to do than any support that someone might give for evolution or any rebuttal we can make to the science of it, although that is very important for us to learn. So I'm going to show you a clip from the very end of the school board meeting, starting around the 5 hour and 18-minute mark, 5 hour and 19-minute mark. And it's not very long, it's a very short clip, but it's very powerful what is said. So let's watch this, and then I'll provide a comment afterwards.
So what if they're sitting there in class and they get to talking about evolution? And, kids are going to be kids. They are going to ask questions and so forth. So in that course of that class, if someone asks a question about, that could flaw or whatever, are they free to sit and discuss all this? Just an honest conversation about uh, the pros and what the theory and exactly. Mr. Campbell had to educate me on exactly what a scientific theory is. It's not just a theory like we use in everyday language. I learned that since '08. But what I want to know is, they have open discussion about the um, downside or what people who don't like it say. Are they talking about it openly?
So I would tell you this. I would encourage teachers not to get into religious
Right,
aspects
that's the
in the
thing.
classroom. I think
I'm
it's
not
very.
talking
I'm
about
talking about from a teacher's perspective.
right.
I think that you cross the line and stay connected to the state standards.
Well, there's been so many court cases with religion in
Yes,
the
ma'am.
classroom, and um, and I've always been told over the years that we only approach religion in the public schools from a historical perspective,
Right.
uh, and and we don't seem to get sued and in court on that.
But a teacher would be free to talk about the law of biogenesis or um, the physics laws that, as they apply to evolution, that's a discussion that could be had in class, correct?
The teacher needs to stay connected to the state standards and teach
So
the
you
state
would discourage
standards.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really
Okay, well, my question is
Yeah.
answered, so thank you.
okay.
All right, so you can see in this clip that Carol Studdard, the chair of the board, asked Addison Davis, the superintendent, if you're in a classroom as a teacher and a student brings up the flaws of evolution and wants to have an honest conversation about the flaws of evolution, that implies the science about it, not anything religious, can they have an honest discussion about the flaws of evolution? And Addison Davis says no. He says he takes it back into the religious realm, and he says we really need to stay away from religion. And um, Ms. Studdard comes back and says, well, I wasn't really asking about the religious aspect of it. And he continues to talk over her, I guess not finished with his answer. I don't think he was trying to be rude or anything. Addison Davis does not come across as a rude person. But he continued on with talking about the religious side of it. And this is very interesting. Number one, because if he's saying that to reject evolution in any way um, is automatically religious, then that elevates evolution into the religious realm. On top of that, if to reject evolution is automatically a religious discussion, then that's an admission that if we can show evolution to be false, which is so easy to do many, many ways, then the only other answer, the default, is a religious default. And that's very, very powerful. Then Ms. Gilhausen comes on and she asks a clarifying question and says, so if a student comes along and asks a science-based question about refuting evolution, it's okay for the teacher to talk about that. And then Addison David says, no, we would discourage that. We want them to stick to the standards. So as a science teacher, I'm not even allowed to teach science if it contradicts evolution. I'm not allowed to teach science in a science classroom if that science contradicts evolution. Now that right there is indoctrination. That right there is very, very poor education. I can't even teach science in the science classroom. So what you see here is that evolution is being taught in the schools dogmatically. You know, Ms. Studdard had talked about right before this that she had to be educated by Mr. Campbell on what a theory is. Well, Mr. Campbell's definition of theory is fact. But the actual definition of theory, the way the state standards teach the definition of theory, is that it's possible that theories can be wrong and need to be changed. That's not a fact. But if we go with David Campbell's definition of theory and say that evolution is a fact, it's a theory and that makes it a fact, then what they're doing is they're teaching evolution in the classroom as a fact. And nobody is allowed to question that, according to Addison Davis. And that's what this entire fight is about. And we're just getting started. Thank you for watching. From here on, we're going to be moving on to evaluations of some of the older textbook type stuff, some other textbooks that I have from other schools. And we're going to be showing that it does, in fact, that those textbooks do, in fact, teach evolution as if it's fact, which is what the whole 2008 fight was about, and allegedly we were supposed to have overturned. But we'll get into that when we get into those videos. This will be the last one related to the school board. Thank you so much for watching, and again, if you have any comments, leave them below, or look us up on Facebook, Science Freedom Florida. Thank you very much.